Hey everybody, I'm doing an update for 23andMe and Ancestry DNA primarily. Yes, I am a Genoese Cuban. My last name is Pitaluga. These are the variants. It comes from Liguria, where the city of Genova, or Genoa is, right, where Christopher Columbus is from. And for example here, here's a picture of my grandfather and my grandmother. My grandfather was from Pinar del Rio in Mantua, Cuba. My grandmother's from Orient. Um, so yeah, he was 100% European, not necessarily Italian. Here's a picture of me real quick. Here's a picture of my father and my mother. All right. Anyway, so okay. So in 2012, this was my ethnicity estimate, right? And my Genoese, as in Genoa, Italy, was represented by 25% Iberian Peninsula, Spain, and my grandmother's Canarian, the Canary Islands, was represented by the 10% Italy, Greece. Ireland, Great Britain. You'll see how the Irish was more Celtic, and it's really like Welsh and other things. I'm only like 2% Irish. Spoiler on Ancestry DNA, so I can't call myself like a tough like Irish gangster from New York. I can't totally do that at all. Right, Africa, America 2%, and then there was Caucasian and from the Caucasus as the West Asia percentage. Okay. All right. So, on to the meat and potato. Oh, and real quick, I did a breakdown here. This kind of spoils the breakdown, but I'll explain it to you this week, so I'll show you live on the websites. So Iberian Peninsula, right? It was like earlier technology, right? Because that became a mix of other things. Because if you notice, there was an uneven distribution of Eastern European and other things that came up on my grandmother's Cuban side. Um, so it's just Canary Islander. So it was really that much Canary Islander and the Southern Italian and the Galician and the Storian and Northern Italian is the Iberian Peninsula. Now that doesn't mean like every person who had 25% Iberian Peninsula would have had Italian now, but we'll get into it. And also, if you read the book, Genoa's Freedom, Entrepreneurship, Republicanism, and the Spanish Atlantic Empires and Entanglements in the Early Modern World, by Matteo Sologna, who is an Italian in Italy historian who wrote about the Genoese doing banking and merchandising and exchanges and trade with Spain and other countries. So, onto it. Okay, so yep, so there it is, right, right. A lot of these earlier sites gave me a lot of Portuguese, either representing my Italian grandfather or my Canarian grandmother. But I mean, yeah, it's okay. So this is much more clean the way it renders my father's percentages. Because I'm not Brazilian. I'm sure there are some ethnically Portuguese people in Cuba, but I'm not one of them. And I just from my OCD. It's not necessarily Irish is better than, or British is better than, or Portuguese or Spanish Canarian is better. It's just you just want to look like what your ethnicity truly is, and I'm not a liberal, right? So that Latino guy, that Hispanic guy, that's fine. No, but I mean, like, insults are insults, if you get what I'm saying. Anyway, so yeah, my mother is Polish and Anglo-Saxon, so um, northwestern Mazovia. Okay. Um, Let me see. English, right? North Central England. Right. All right. So, let me see. The Welsh, the Scottish, yeah, and Ancestry DNA reflects the same thing. I mean, my father didn't have any German, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that was my Anglo-Saxon mother. But if you do look at Italian and Maltese, the peoples of Italy and Malta descend from a complex Polynesian populations. Italy, inhabited for more than 30,000 years, was a crossroads of the Mediterranean and was shaped by the rise and fall of the Western Roman Empire, later migrations by Germanic, Greek, North African, and Western Asian peoples. Malta, strategically located between Europe and North Africa, has been shaped by Phoenician, Roman, Arab, Norman, and Italian influences, reflecting its long history as a center of maritime exchange. And of course, Northern Italian. Northern Italians descend from a mix of ancient Ligurian, like Genoa, that's me, Etruscan, Celtic, and Roman populations later influenced by Germanic tribes like the Lombards. A long-standing trade with Northern Europe, they maintain a legacy of urbanized city-states, early industrialization, and cultural ties to both Latin and Central European traditions. Okay, and the breakdown here: Cuba, uh, Bernardo del Rio, right? But of course, my grandfather was 100% European, so this is just the European makeup of the total makeup. So I'm going to explain in a minute why it should be, you know, some kind of like North American on Ancestry DNA, but it shows up as Mexican, and I'll show you 1% and then 0% Cuban. But my grandmother's from Oriente, which is from the East, so I know for a fact that, it's more of a Caribbean or mainland American mixture. I'm sure. I mean, it is pretty close to right because this claims migration here, but I mean that's just the way that peoples are like. And what I like about 23andMe is that okay, if you're gonna say I have ancestry, Native American ancestry outside of a native Cuban, shouldn't I definitely have ancestry behind my recent Spanish from my Genoese grandfather? And of course, the Italian shows up, right? Okay, so I'll do my father's at the end. So then here's Ancestry DNA. So northeastern Poland, 10%, north central Europe, 10%, southern Poland, eastern Czechia, Canary Islands, Portugal, and again, maybe there is. I mean, I looked up Canary Islander ancestry, so of course, I'm sure there is Portuguese, but I like having it just say Canarian. Spain, northern Spain, Azores, Basque, Madeira, and then of course southeastern England, northwestern Europe. But see how they gave it a group, like it's a group of the Bretons, right, in Brittany in France, with there. So that's very hyper specific. And that's why I'm hoping maybe next year on Ancestry DNA they give me a hyper specific meld of Genoese with maybe Gibraltar or maybe I don't know something. Because I if as I've shown on and again go ahead and sub my page Federine the Great so Genoese and Sicilian, right? In Spanish in Cuba and in Spain. It's what I did my heritage account on other videos. If you have this group, I mean, you might have some Italian in you if you're Cuban from certain regions that match me. But you don't have an Italian surname, but having it on your father's side, you can say this. This is my father's DNA, so of course my grandmother's Spanish Cuban side is in there too. But if I go to early medieval and reduce the total samples to 0, what is the primary thing? Northwest Italian. So I can, having it on your father's side means, as long as you mix it in every once in a while, it's pretty much always there. And then even then, we have technology to rewind and be like, okay, well it was there at this time period. And I did that in other videos as well. And of course here in my original video, Genoese Cuban American ancestors, I'll see your X and my true ancestry more. Bada bing, I showed you guys live before DNA Land crashed that I was 23% South Central European, which is just pretty much what that's what it is. Yep. So, but let's look at Cuba. So, here we go, Cuba. For a while I didn't even have Cuba, but Ancestry allows you to look at previous estimates if you have premium. I bought premium for my dad's account. Unfortunately, there are no ancient matches. I was hoping for an ancient Genoese match or something like that, or maybe Sicilian or something like that, because I bought premium. Nothing yet, which was really disappointing. All the regions of Spain and Italy I have, and there's nothing. It's so disappointing. Yes. So some Portuguese does show up from my father's, but I like the way they cleaned it out on mine. That's just Canarian. Galicia, Asturias, Canary Islands, Basque, and of course Southern Italian here. Southern Italians trace their ancestry to pre-Roman Italic peoples, Greek colonists, and Roman settlers, and later layers and influenced by the Byzantines, Arab Normans, and Spanish rulers, reflecting a deeper and eternal heritage shaped by a long-standing agricultural society, seafaring networks, and diverse imperial legacies. Okay. I think that's pretty much everything, guys. Let me think about it for a second. Right. Some places in Cuba they speak Corsican, the island here where my cursor is. Right. Yeah. The last thing I can show you guys is, let me see. It's right here somewhere. Where is it? Where's the? Here it is. Here we go. So if you look at a map of Genoese expansion in the Mediterranean, you can see it starts in Genoa. Corsica is fully occupied. Northern Sardinia is fully occupied. Sicily is temporarily conquered economically by trade, not officially by actual military rule, but by trade. And of course, the banking in Spain, heavy, strong banking penetration in Spain. Yes. All right. Thank you very much.